In the earlier lesson, I made reference to knowing HTML and understanding code. This becomes critical when you're troubleshooting a website to find out why the search engines aren't downloading it or it's not showing up properly in the search engine results. There's a number of obstacles that you need to be aware of. Number one is that search engines, they can't see images. If there is text contained in an image, it can't be read by the search engine. The search engine can only read text that can be seen in the HTML code. So an image can't be read by a search engine. Your architecture is critical in providing search engines the context of the information and the navigation and the organization of your website. Also, there are server settings that can completely keep the search engines away from your website or allow them in. Knowing about them is critical. And then also, one of the things that drives SEOs up a wall is duplicate content. Duplicate content is frustrating, and a knowledge of code will enable you to troubleshoot why it's happening and how you can stop it. The first thing, though, is images. You see, if you design a website that's primarily image-based, the result is you're not going to have much information for the search engine to download and run against an algorithm. We see this on some of Target's older websites. It was primarily an image-based website, and as a result, there's no content. There are some people, though, that just don't want to change, and regardless of what search engines want, they refuse because they want a pretty website that's got lots of images. Now, another thing, and this gets into server settings that will stop search engines. If you'll notice, the URL in the snippet is cancer.org for the American Cancer Society. This is where the search engine believes that the home page lives. It's the address. However, when you click on American Cancer Society, where you are taken is to a brand new address. We call this a redirect. It's really like the website moved and had to leave a forwarding address. But because there is no forwarding address, Google still thinks the homepage lives at cancer.org. And so Google does not see the information that's on this new page because the user is being sent to a new address that the search engine can't find. You see, a redirect typically happens when you change a URL. That's changing a homepage location, changing a location of a page. Usually we see this when people develop a brand new website or they develop a new content management system. And so all the old page names have changed and they don't exist anymore. And so this is why when a new website goes live, the rankings completely disappear, visitors go down, and business suffers. Unless there is a plan in place to take care of these pages and direct visitors and search engines from the old page to the new page. And that's why we need to know server codes. Now, one of the ways I use server codes is I want to make sure that the requested page that I want is being delivered the right way. Also, if there's a redirect happening, that helps us understand if the page is being seen properly by the search engine. It's one of those troubleshooting tools that you absolutely need to have. I like using a software program called WebBug because I type in the page that I want. And if I see in the received data the 200 OK, that means that the search engine, or WebBug, which acts like a search engine, was able to find the page just fine. Now, the next address is 302 moved. This is a web page that has been moved to a new address, and there's been no forwarding address left. So even though your browser might take you to the new page, the search engine is not informed of the change of address, and so it will not find the new website based on this instruction. The problem is that many sites, when they change the content management system or they redesign the site, they use 302 redirects, which don't direct the search engine at all, and so you lose your traffic, you lose your visibility, and you lose the visitors to your website. Now, the problem comes when we find duplicate content. As I said before, every page has its own address. The problem comes when one page can be found with multiple addresses, meaning that there's multiple mailboxes for one address. And so when there's more than one version of a website, this is usually caused by the content management system that's not installed properly, or it just wasn't ever built to run this way in consideration of search engines. And sometimes this can happen by accident when you're trying to manage a secure site and links get out of your control. An example of this is the Brookstone homepage, that when you go to the homepage, you're at brookstone.com. But if you go shopping through the site and then you go back to the homepage again, you'll see that there's a brand new address. To a search engine, this is a brand new page with a new address, but it's the same exact page as the homepage. It's seen as two separate pages, not one, in two separate locations, and that becomes a problem. We see this also with a couple of products. So you can see for the first page here, it has Brookstone in the title. We can see the address, the URL of that product, and we can also see the menu where it's in outdoor living and barbecue. However, the same product is available somewhere else on the website. The URL is different, the title is different, the navigation is different, but it's the same exact product. Because of this, how does a search engine know which is the best page to send people for rankings? As a result, another website is probably going to be favored because it was easier to determine which is the best page for the search. Now, the difference with HTTP and HTTPS. HTTP is the typical protocol that we see in front of most web addresses. However, when you're on a secure site doing shopping or putting in any personal information or credit card information, that goes into a secure site for the server. Now, this also comes about when you start getting, I think, a little lazy in your linking. You see, an absolute link has that HTTP protocol, the website, and the page that's being linked to. A lazy way of linking is called a relative link. And in doing that, all you're doing is saying, we're assuming, since we're already on this domain, that we don't have to type in the entire domain. We just have to type in the page that you're going to go to. Now, the problem is when you are in a secure page shopping and you decide to click on a home page or a navigation element and they use a relative link instead of an absolute link, it will duplicate the entire website in an HTTPS rather than just HTTP. I know this might get a little complicated, but hang with me. Here's what it looks like. In front, we have sunburstcoffee.com. In the back, we have HTTPS sunburstcoffee.com. To a search engine, those are two different pages. Now, to you and me, it's the same page. We can figure it out. But to the search engine, remember, every page has a mailbox. And what we're seeing here is we have a duplicated page going to two different places. And so part of search engine optimization is managing the duplicated content, the content management systems, and the obstacles that we come across when we are developing and optimizing websites. So take into consideration the images that you use, the architecture of the site, and the duplicate content that can happen.